stuff. You know, this is also a good way to build relationships. They like to talk about this stuff. And a lot of the stuff, and we'll talk about this later, some of the weirder stuff, so the kids can get a little more into it. Over here you have the important dates they need to have, what they should be doing after they're done with my homework. Mine is always first, and then whoever else's can come next. I have folder holders. I request that each student has their own folder that stays in my room. They have their notes and any homework I pass back into them. At the end of every chapter, before a test, we clean these out. And so they are ready to go for the next chapter the next day when they get their new section of notes. So we do clean out every chapter so we don't have puke of papers coming out, and they all fit in my folder holders. It's arranged, of course, by class hour. I'm old school. I still keep my books. I have them numbered. I also assign a number to each kid at the beginning of the school year. Again, another procedure. One that you can kind of see a little bit better. On their folders, I have them put their first name, last initial, what class period they're in, and then their book number. So anytime we use a history book, they know, and they don't have to ask me 47 times a year what their book number is, and I can kind of keep track on who's got what books out and where they need to be and stuff, and kids love to organize that stuff. We'll talk about that later. This is also where I put where they have, if they have missing work or whatever, if they lost something, they can come over here. Now I keep all makeup work and hand it to them directly so they can't say they haven't got it, because I can say, oh, I handed it to you yesterday. But this is just in case they lose their notes or they want to start over on an assignment or something. It's just homework by week. And then I put the last week's work, or usually throughout the chapter. I keep the whole chapter, and when the chapter's done, I throw it away. I keep them all at the bottom, so I have extra copies if I need to run and find something instead of having to go down to the copy machine and do it. Over here.
Hold on just a second. Over here by the place where the kids turn in their folders, you'll see that she has a poster, very simple, of some other items that the kids can do. I know Jana likes to tell the kids individually what they should do when they're finished, but this is just a nice visual in case that doesn't happen for whatever reason or they need to see it again.
Okay, over here is kind of the kids' area. I tell them that my corner is hands off. Unless I ask you to do something for me, you're not touching anything in my corner of my room. But over here is kind of their own little corner where they can grab what they need. The Kleenexes are over here, which I keep them away from my desk because that spreads germs around me. So see how far away it is from my room. Just a simple little concept of Kleenex trash can in the back of the room. You're not blowing your nose in front of other people, that type of thing, not getting germs all over me. So there's just a little idea. That's where they have their markers and dry erase boards when we do games and stuff. In the morning when I do notes, and I tell them on the way in, you need your folder, your highlighter, something to write with. Notice when you come in the door, you come in, you grab your folder or you grab your book. And then my highlighters are always out on the back table here. They come by, they sweep by, they pick up a highlighter, and then they go to their desk. There should be no reason for them to get up and down and all over the place. So again, it's that nice, easy flow going in and out of the room. And then when the 2-minute warning's up, they get up, they come and kind of do a reverse. Sometimes I collect highlighters from them while they're working. Sometimes I'll have them put their folders away individually or by rows. It kind of just depends on how long the class took that day. Just a heads up. That's kind of how I do my exit and entry flow. Over here in the corner is kind of, again, their little space. I have my diffuser in the back of the room so the kids don't mess with it. I have a little chair. Sometimes they like to do different types of seating when they're doing homework, but I pretty much have kids that don't hardly ever ask about it because I don't really say much about it. Sometimes when they're talking, they like to come over and sit in this chair. But again, they're sitting, and so that I'm okay with that. Over on the board is some areas where they can look for references for things. FYIs, I usually put, hey, don't forget, midterm is on this date, or you have a project due on this date, just so it's out there in front of everybody. Lost and found, anything that I happen to find on the floor, I leave up for 1 week. At the end of the week, it gets cleared out. If it's not picked up by then, I'm putting things back in the library for books or giving it to a teacher or whatever. But I don't leave it clutter laying around. Up here is my homework board, my agenda board. I kind of tell them what they're going to do in class and what homework they have when some of it's due. So again, they can't say, well, you didn't tell me when it was due. Well, it's up on the board. It's in your Google Classroom. It's wherever. This other board over here in the corner, I do this a lot for myself, and I tell the kids at the beginning of the school year, you might see your name up on the missing board, work board. This helps me to figure out who's got missing work, especially if they're going a lot. At the end of every week, I kind of go through and just adjust it, or I just clear the whole thing off. But I tell them it's not for their embarrassment. That just means that you owe me something, and that's something you could be working on when you're done with your homework for the day. You have this, this, and this to make up for me. It's just something that helps me stay situated and on top of things, and helps them. So they have a better completion rate for homework to turn in. And then over here is just my corner of fun, I guess you could say. I am a big fan of shelves and drawers and stuff. One of my favorite things that I did last year was set up a cart that has each chapter. I have it broken down so it's easier for subs to find things, it's easier for me to find things, it's easier for me to say, hey, Miss Julie, hey, Miss Simpson, can you go and copy chapter 17, the entire thing for me? And they do, and then I have a place to put them. That kind of helps me when I am lesson planning then too, because I know it's already copied. I don't have to run down in the middle of the day to make copies or before school and fight everybody in the copy room. I know it's all done. I know it's ready to go. So I kind of can plan. I know it's hard for some people. I can kind of plan out ahead. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later. This is kind of my desk setup. I have my hall passes. I kind of have a different story on hall passes than everybody else, I think. My hall passes, I give them, and I tell them this in my syllabus. You can see this in my syllabus. I only give them the opportunity to leave my class or come in late to my class twice an entire semester. I keep a clipboard of everybody in each class, do it by classes. They get 2 passes, to the bathroom, to be tardy, to go to their locker for homework, or whatever. If they don't have their planner, they don't go. They will then take, I'm not touching the bathroom one. They'll take one of my hall passes to wherever they need to go, and it says where it needs. Put it on their arm, especially for the bathroom one, and they go, and then they bring it back. So they don't have to lug their planners with them, because they always ask, do I have to take my planner? No, you don't take your planner if you have a pass. So that's just kind of how everything's set up. Just a nice, easy flow in and out of the classroom. I think it makes it a lot easier. Notice there's enough walkway in between all the desks. I usually make it to where I have room to get through. And I, again, being in class, or at the beginning of the year, I should say, I make sure your stuff goes underneath your desk. I'm not going to hurdle books and binders and Chromebooks, because if I trip on it, it'll be an ugly sight. So it's just kind of some ways that my room's set up. Just, again, might not be ideal for everybody, but it works for me.
I think you skipped one.
Yeah. So this is some great other classroom ideas that I saw going through the building yesterday. I like how they have like the little folder holders and the missing work, and a wall for no names and stuff, pencils. Everybody's got a pencil place, which I like that. Again, it's one less fight. I like a lot of those pencil ideas. So middle schoolers like to be entertained. And again, this is something that you kind of have to develop as you get into your teaching career, but I think a lot of times I have it a little bit easier than some other classes because history is like teaching a story. They like to listen to stories. They like humor. They like a little sarcasm, especially if you're digging on another kid in class. They like to do that. And sometimes humor and sarcasm might diffuse some situations. To give you an example, Marcus Kalunga. So like one time he was in my class. He came in late And I asked him where he was, and he said in the bathroom. I said, oh, that must make sense because your pants are still down. The kids are like, whoa, you know, and he kind of gave me a little smirk, and I gave him a little smirk, and I said, I'll see you tomorrow. Of course, he didn't show up to school ever, but, you know, but it's still, he knows that I noticed he came in late, but I also diffused the situation by kind of calling him out on a couple things he's done wrong, but not yelling at him for it. So humor, sarcasm, whatever works for you. Again, you have to have the personality to do it and the confidence to do it. I mean, you need to know what kids you can do it with.
And the relationships. With
And
the
the
kids.
relationships. You got to build that relationship with them first. You know, and they know. And I will tell them at the beginning of the year, I'm a sarcastic person. I'm going to probably say something that you might take offense to, then realize, oh, she's just joking. Just little things like that. Again, I like to tell stories. We talk a lot about blood and guts and history during wars. We talk about hookers and prostitutes because, you know, it's the fun thing to talk about. But it keeps their attention. And I know maybe math class you can't bring in hookers and prostitutes or whatever, but you could maybe. But you do it in an appropriate, kind of inappropriate way. Again, you don't take the whole class on it. You make a little story from it and you move on. I like to use a lot of memes in my class as well. I always put a meme up with my morning what you need to know or what you need to have stuff. That makes them draw their eyes to the board. And then again, build relationships, because some of them go, I don't get that one. Well, you'll get it after we talk about our notes today. So usually my meme kind of relates to what we're going to talk about, or if we have a test that day or whatever. Kind of relates to what's going on that day in my class. Again, it's something that is going to you have to work on. You have to have that personality for, but I've not always had that personality. So again, I've worked on the way I deliver things, what things kids really are interested in. I use that interest survey, right? My kids love wars, so we talk a lot about wars in my class. They like to know about the people in the wars. They like to know the stories, the backgrounds of some of the people, or why things are like they are now because of what happened in 1800 or whatever. So they like the background information, not just stats for that. So again, making them smile, keeping them interested. Remember, we're living in a world of Snapchats and TikTok videos or whatever they got going on now. So you got to kind of keep up with the times, but again, make sure that you're getting your point across with what you want to get done as well. I also bring a lot of times, like when we talk about wars, talk about like their brothers and sisters. You don't get along with your brothers and sisters, or you like to instigate your brothers and sisters. That's kind of how it was with the United States and Mexico, that type of thing. So again, they can relate to it, the relationship, sarcasm, the humor. It kind of sticks with them a little bit more. I've had kids that have graduated, for 5 years to come up to me and say, I can still remember the duel between Hamilton and Burr. They like those type of things. I think they like when people die. I don't know. But so they can still recount a lot of that stuff just based on the stories and stuff that you tell them. All right, setting the rules. Set them day one, stick to them. Again, it's that Google presentation. I'm going to show them physically. This is how you go over and you sharpen your pencil. You sharpen it and then you go and sit down quietly. You're not going to sit there and high-five your friends on the way up to sharpen your pencil. That type of thing. And follow your own rules every day. There's There's a fine line. I am a true believer. It's like, okay, if they can have water in class, I can have water in class, but I'm also going to drink my coffee because I think I deserve that. So when they call you out and say, well, you have coffee, why can't we have something more than water to drink? Because I've earned it. Because I'm an adult. Because, so a lot of them are going to push those lines of, well, you have your phone. Well, yeah, but I also have a family I need to worry about. And sometimes I'm talking to Miss White. And sometimes whatever. I'm not going to just text people just because I have nothing better to do. So make sure you're following your own rules, but again, be very cautious that they will call you out on your own rules as well, of like drinking and phones and stuff. And make sure you apply it to everybody. middle schoolers are all about fair. What's fair and what's not. I don't care if you are the starting point guard on the basketball team or you can barely make it to school on time. You are going to get the same consequences in my class as anybody else. It doesn't matter if I'm friends with your family or your parents, or if I have no idea who you are. You're still going to get the same consequence. And I'll tell you what, I tell my kids at the beginning of the year and in my syllabus, my consequences depend on the severity of the situation. I don't give a lot of detentions. Truthfully, I tell them at the beginning of the year, I don't want to spend my mornings with them. I want to drink my coffee by myself and get my stuff done. And they appreciate that. They know that they're not going to, they know where the fine line is. There's some things that just can't be had. And so they are going to have a detention with me. And they serve detentions, they're doing something. They're working on homework, they're reading a book, or if they have neither one, supposedly, they're cleaning. They wipe down my desk. They wipe down the pencil sharpeners and stuff. I give them a thing of Clorox wipes and say, go to it. Very rarely will I ever see a kid in detention again. I don't know, I guess they just don't like to clean, I don't know. But it just kind of sticks with them that I'm gonna tell them that's what they're gonna do. Make sure you post your rules, make sure they're readable. I have the rules on my wall when you walk in, my main rules. In my syllabus, I have my rules that kind of go with the be safe, be respectful, responsible, follow the student handbook type of thing. But then I have things that are kind of listed, my pet peeves listed underneath. We're going to talk about that first day of school, so they know. And then so they're also posted in the room. Make them simple, and then give them rewards. Depending on the year, depends on what kind of rewards I give. Some days it might be candy. Some days it might be free time. Sometimes I let them play games. I know. At the end of class, when they're done. But my rule is in class, if nobody's talking until everybody's done with their homework. So if it keeps them quiet, it keeps them entertained, and they're doing what I'm asking them to do to the quality that I expect out of them, then I think it's an acceptable reward. Listening to music. Sometimes I'll even go as far as, hey, if everybody in this class can get their chapter whatever review sheet done on time, we'll watch a movie next week. That's usually when I have a little time to spare, if we're ahead of the game or whatever in class. But it's just kind of little baits to bring them in. And they know when I say no computers, it's no computers. They're not going to try that. So they know where that line is. So rewards sometimes are the key to baiting them and hooking them. Some classroom rule ideas. Again, I liked a lot of these that we found in throughout the building. Again, they're stated. You know, you can point to them. They know what's going on. So in my class we have what we call no fluffy bunnies. I don't sugarcoat things. I am pretty honest with my kids. I tell my kids no a lot. They might not hear that a lot. Some of them probably never hear that at home. But sometimes tough love is what they need. They need somebody that's going to make them follow the rules. So just say no is my phrase there for this slide. Expect greatness. I expect everybody to come in up here. I don't want to work my way up. Everybody's going to come up here and you're going to do what I expect you to do. If you don't do what I expect you to do, then we're going to talk about it. You're going to have your consequences, whatever. But this is where I put everybody. We're not going to work our way up to that. I don't put up with stupidity, and now I'm not saying don't call them stupid. I'm saying middle schoolers do stupid things. They want to get your attention. They want the attention of their classmates. You got to make sure you reel it in before it gets out of hand. If they want to ask a stupid question in class, this ain't the time and the place. We'll talk about it later. If they want to, yell out or whatever, you got to put a squash to it at the very beginning. If you don't put a squash at the very beginning, it's not going to work. So I always say treat them like adults, and some people have a major problem with that. But I'm going to treat them like I'm going to treat somebody I see outside of school, like an adult. I'm going to talk to them the same way I would talk to an adult. I'm going to tell them how it is. I'm going to be honest with them. I'm not going to baby them. They know that they can get help from me, but I'm not going to do the work for them. That's not what I'm here for. I'm there to help them, guide them, but I'm not going to be there to do everything for them. And my routine's set up in place. They know what to do. Every time they walk in, they know how to do notes. They know what's expected of them, again, because I've set the expectation level up high. Kids lie, call them out. We know middle schoolers are 100% of the time away from the truth. So why not call them out on it? It's pretty easy to, when they're lying. When they say they have a headache, but they were just running down the hallway. I call them out on it because they know that they're trying to get out of doing something, and I'm not going to let it happen. So they know that if they're going to lie to me, you expect me to call them out. And I'm going to be honest themselves. So I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to say, hey, this is what your situation is. We check grades at the end of every chapter. This is what you need to have. If you don't get a 98 on your test, you're going to be failing my class. Whatever. They need to know where they're standing with you, with their grades, with school, whatever. Because sometimes they don't get a lot of honesty in their life. So I like to be very upfront with them. Alright, another thing that helps me with my classroom management is I am almost OCD prepared. I plan ahead. I usually plan out an entire chapter. I like to know what's going on. I like to look at my schedule. I'm old school. I do the old calendar agenda online. I do my lesson plans online. But I also keep my lesson plans from the past 2 years, so I can go back and forth and see what I did, what was happening at that time, what worked, what didn't work. So I can kind of plan ahead. I use a lot of my planning periods for just looking ahead and seeing, okay, this is what's going on the next 2 weeks. That's how long it usually takes me to get through a chapter. I know that I need to have this, and this copied. I know that I can have a little free day here with some classes, so maybe we push things together. I just kind of really plan ahead, and I plan extra. Now, my extra planning might come in at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm lying in bed, can't sleep, but I always sit there and think of what can I have them do extra that's going to keep them busy. Again, being predictable helps you plan ahead. Like I said, my chapters are usually all set up the same. They do a vocab assignment on the day they have a test, so they have something to do after the test. The next couple days we do notes. I usually throw in an activity or a play or something into it, depending on the chapter. We do a review sheet. We go over that review sheet. We take a test. So those kids know every chapter pretty much what's happening. A couple chapters I kind of stray from it, and I will give them a heads up on that. But I always make sure that I'm kind of doing the same thing and expecting the same thing from each chapter. And those kids that are done, give them a job. My kids love to organize my history books. I love to put them in order. I don't know. If I need something stapled, here, start stapling. Cut something out. Whatever, those little minute tasks that you don't like to do, have the kids do them. I will never have a kid grade other kids' papers. It drives me nuts. I will never have them leave my room. If they're leaving my room, I desperately need something. But until then, they're finding something in the class to do. And if it's for me, it's for them, whatever. So give the students a job, keep them busy. All right, so here's some classroom prep ideas. I do this type of thing. Mine are just written on my clippies instead of this fancy work here. But I have a clip for each class period, so when I collect work out of my turn-in trays, I clip them so I know that they're all together. I have, of course, that cart that organizes all my quizzes and my notes and stuff like that. I have a file folder that says things to copy. And then on the inside, I also have however many numbers I need for each for my history classes and my geography classes. So in case I have one of my 8s go and copy things for me, they know how many of each they need to have. Again, you set your thing up however you want it to, but I think it's just a little easier. I don't know, I have file baskets also. That one I'm done. I have a graded basket, so when everything's graded, I clip them by class period, throw them in, and I know that they can be returned. I usually return things as they are working on other assignments, so they can keep that all in their folder and all together, and they can use their assignments to help them with other assignments. And then again, it's one of those little cart things that kind of help out organization. Keep them busy. Keep everyone busy at the same time. I do notes. I'm a huge believer in notes because A, they hear it from me, B, they write it down, and C, they see it. So it's always up on the board. They're copying notes, they're filling in the blanks with the notes, the hand's always going, they're always busy, they're writing things, they're highlighting things. That gives them a lot less time to cause problems. Again, when you're done, you have a certain job. I'll go and look and say, okay, now next you'll look at, you're missing something off the board. Start working on that. Or you're done with everything. I heard you have math that you're behind on. Get your math out. Those type of things. So I have that one-on-one conversation with them, what they need to be doing next. Again, and be predictable. They pretty much know that what they need to do when they are done, where they need to put things, what the next step is in class. If they have another assignment for me, this is what you need to be doing on it, that type of thing. Some other ideas from Hams that I kind of like to see as we went through the building. Some classroom decor, some ideas on making sure their supplies are returned, driving questions they have about science, I think that is, that type of things. So, if you have any questions, post it on the comment section in the staff classroom. Michelle or I will get back to you on it. I will also have Michelle attach my syllabus and my beginning year Google Slides so you kind of know what I'm talking about there. And then you have homework.
And I can talk about the homework,
Okay.
Jana. I'm going to cheat and just let you guys see the slide while I talk. So there are really two pieces of homework that will be posted on Google Classroom. The exit ticket that directly relates to the presentation today, I would like that completed and submitted via Google Classroom by May 1st, so that'll give you a little bit of time to do that. And then, we chose to talk about routines and procedures today because April is a great time to start thinking about the upcoming year, especially now that we have a little bit of extra downtime, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. It feels like we're busier now than we are during the school year. But we do have a little bit of extra time, so now it's a good time to start thinking about it. And like Jana mentioned, your routines and procedures and rules all need to be established day one. So that means that you need to have an idea of what you're going to do before the kids enter that classroom on the first day, because it needs to be set day one and then be consistent throughout the entire year. We want to make sure that everything we do is intentional. Nothing happens by accident when it comes to routines and procedures. So the second piece of homework then, you're going to have a lot of time to work on that. But it's a behavioral procedures and routines worksheet. I've listed some of the common routines and procedures that you should have established in your classroom, and then there's a place for you to do some bullet points to outline how you plan to address those specific routines and procedures in your room. I would like this submitted via Google Classroom prior to the first day of school. One of the many documents that I'll post on the staff classroom in association with this video is going to be an example of that behavioral procedures and routines worksheet completed. So if you need to see kind of what that would look like, that will be posted for you as well. And then as always, or as we've said throughout this video, if you have questions, feel free to post them on the Google Classroom. We'll use that as a discussion board. If they're private questions, go ahead and email, call, or text me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I want to thank everybody. It's time to go. I want to thank everybody for your attention and your time that you're dedicating to this, as well as the many, many other things that we're doing during this weird school closure time. You guys are all rock stars, and I appreciate your work more than I could ever tell you. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thanks. Bye.